I asked 100 women to give me one word to describe their bodies.
Wobbly, imperfect,
stumpy,
very average,
short. I'd like to be thinner.
Not perfect. I need to lose weight.
I don't like this body right now.
Not nice to look at.
Maybe I'm a little bit fat.
It's like frumpy. It's kind of gross.
I hate it. I feel disgusting.
I feel disgusting.
Disgusting.
This section of a video by Taryn Brumfitt on body image movement emphasizes the idea that most societies generally have a narrow view of what is considered attractive, because there are specific traits that stand out as more appealing than others. When women in the video were told to describe their body in one word, they picked adverse words and ultimately stigmatized themselves by saying they were imperfect, frumpy, or disgusting. By choosing these words, it was made clear that most people find it difficult to view themselves as attractive individuals. A study that was done by Glamour magazine was noted in an article on Psychology Today about women's views on their body. Glamour magazine found 97% of women are verbally cruel to their bodies every day. The article, Shame, Body Image, and Weight Loss in Psychology Today, comes up with the idea that people continuously shame themselves about their appearance. Trying to overcome the habit of shaming is the most difficult part of attempting to heal for many people dealing with unsatisfied body image.
It is important to understand the psychological reasons for our dissatisfaction with our body because it is the root of the problem. So why is it normal to think we aren't attractive, but models on magazine covers are? Why do we see our bodies as frumpy and disgusting, but advertisements that have been clearly photoshopped as beautiful? When ugliness is only in the patient's eye, body image can reflect mental disorder, is an article from the New York Times that addresses a relatively new formal diagnosis of body dysmorphic disorder, BDD for short, that affects 2 to 10% of people. And it makes people so self-cautious that it constricts their life, and sometimes even leaves them homebound or suicidal. The article talks about people's greater concern about the physical issues they see on themselves, rather than the actual psychological problems, causing them to be dissatisfied with their body image. People are more likely to consult cosmetic surgeons or dermatologists rather than psychotherapists, because they are too embarrassed to even consider having a psychological problem.
Societies have always had restricting views on body image, and this is what causes shameful thoughts about oneself because there are baselines that people feel they need to meet. These views differ among cultures because there are various cultural and geographic aspects that influence what is considered attractive. America particularly focuses on individuality, which promotes uniqueness because there is no single identity that defines attractiveness. This would make it seem as if Americans would be content enough with their body image to stay away from altering their appearance. However, this is still an issue even in America because that leaves a lot of gray area for what is expected of their appearance. Furthermore, plastic surgery can be viewed as a form of uniqueness because it can give the patient a look that separates them from everybody else. In other cultures, there tends to be a uniform look that most people line up with. However, even in these countries, there is some rate of plastic surgeries being done because very few people can perfectly fit the expectations held by that society. In Brazil, Nips and Tucks Don't Raise an Eyebrow is an article by NPR that talks about cosmetic procedures being so common in Brazil that it doesn't surprise many Brazilians. Compared to America, Brazil has the most cosmetic surgeries performed in the world, and many of their customers happen to be Brazilian as well. For many Brazilians, surgical cosmetic procedures are viewed as an investment rather than bankrupting themselves for beauty because it has become part of their popular culture.
In fact, cosmetic surgeries have become common in Brazil because there are many doctors that specify in plastic surgery, and they are willing to perform surgical procedures that doctors in other countries may not be willing or allowed to perform. In an article on Patients Beyond Borders, it says Brazil has about 4,500 licensed cosmetic surgeons and the highest per capita number of practicing cosmetic physicians in the world. The cost of these procedures are much more affordable in Brazil than America because it is a major selling factor in why Brazil has so many procedures done. Nonetheless, the baseline for attractiveness originated from historical events that led to the preference of a specific type of appearance. This is what has led to the recent diagnosis of psychological disorders that cause people to want to permanently change themselves through cosmetic procedures. People fail to recognize the true problem behind it lies in the expectations society advertently places on its people. The societal expectations fall heavily on women than men, because throughout history, women have been materialized by men as a form of oppression.
An example of this can be seen in Eastern Asia, where women with lighter skin were considered more attractive than women with darker skin. This dates back to ancient China and Japan, where skin whitening was a common practice among most of the population. Light skin was representative of the higher class because the upper class were not in contact with much sunlight. This allowed their skin to appear smoother and milkier than the working class and the poor. Ever since this trend was created, the concept of beauty in Eastern Asia is mostly associated with light or pale skin. Malaysia, China, South Korea, and the Philippines are all countries that are heavily influenced by this cultural trend. In 1989, it was found that men had more positive things to say about themselves than women. Interestingly enough, it was found that women like their ears and lips more because they are parts of the body they can easily adorn with makeup and accessories. By observing these trends, it may seem as if women face more problems with body image, but it's important to understand men can also suffer from BDD as well. Here's a video from the doctors on Justin Jedlicka, a 34-year-old man on his growing obsession of plastic surgery methods.
My name's Justin, I'm 32 years old, and I've had 90 cosmetic procedures. I've had cranial brow bone shave, brow lift, I've had 5 rhinoplasties, cheek augmentation, lip augmentation, chin augmentation, buttock augmentation, pec implants, bicep implants, tricep implants. I spent about $100,000 on my cosmetic procedures thus far. I did my primary rhinoplasty when I was 18. It was really something that set me apart and validated me, and I felt so euphoric. I've always been into plastic surgery just because it's an extension of me being creative. To, in essence, treat myself as though I was my own sculpture, my own artwork. There's always the potential for something to go wrong, but those risks are pretty nominal. I'm willing to accept these risks, but I don't think anything worthwhile in life comes without taking risk. I don't think I'd ever be done. I don't see a reason for stopping. It's like asking Picasso not to paint.
As seen in the video, Justin gets plastic surgery done to enhance his appearance and views what he does as a form of art and self-expression. He has gone through 90 cosmetic procedures and has been given the nickname the human Ken doll as a response to his ongoing obsession with plastic surgery. This shows men can also become addicted to forms of permanent physical alterations as well, and that women aren't the only ones that subject themselves to cosmetic procedures. Like Justin, most men find it important to have a muscular build because it is part of what defines their masculinity. Justin has gotten many implants within his arms and abdomens to give him the appearance of looking more muscular. For Justin, getting plastic surgery on these areas allow him to start out with a more athletic build. Society's need for permanent physical changes may also be out of laziness as well, because Justin could have gotten his desired build from healthy dieting and exercising. When observing people with an obsession with plastic surgery, as with any addiction, denial of there being a problem plays an important role. Why would they get infected later on? Was Justin's response to the doctors when they tried to discuss the risks involved with having so many implants done. Denial is what allows most addicts to feel secure about them wanting to change themselves because they feel comfortable knowing that they can fix the flaws they see on themselves.
For the past few minutes, we have informed you on the causes and effects of plastic surgery, but there is more to the problem than why it happens. There needs to be solutions that allow us to avoid expensive and dangerous addictions. 3 Keys to Overcoming Plastic Surgery Addiction by Patrick is an article that gives some advice on how to live a healthier lifestyle that is focused on bypassing addiction to plastic surgery. Addiction to plastic surgery is rooted in self-esteem because the person is basing their self-worth on how their body looks. So it would be important for the person suffering from addiction to cosmetic surgeries to work on improving their self-esteem. People must commit to holistic health by eating properly, visiting the doctor regularly, and avoid focusing on beauty image. Commit to personal growth and development by wanting to improve oneself and putting in effort to live a healthier life, and commit to helping others with similar problems.
Lastly, it is important to understand that not all plastic surgery is bad. Some people may need some procedures done for the sake of their own health, even if it is for cosmetic reasons. It is important to stay understanding of plastic surgery because it can be a very sensitive topic. Plastic surgery can also improve one's life in that it can boost self-esteem, but it is not healthy to constantly get procedures done. So many doctors warn their patients that their alterations may not be perfect, and if they do expect it to be perfect, then there's going to be a lot of room left for negativity.
I wanted to spend this last portion of the podcast talking about my brother. When he was 14, he wanted to get surgery because one side of his ear stuck out a little more than the other. It made it look asymmetrical, and he would always complain about people making fun of him. My parents and I didn't see anything, but to him there was a problem. So a few months ago, he got his surgery. It was an otoplasty where they take extra cartilage out of his ear, and that would make his ear set back a little more, so it would look a little more symmetrical. His doctor was very informative and told us that no matter what he did, it could never be perfect. And so part of it was my brother having to be able to understand that his ear would never be perfect. After the surgery, he was fine, and he never asked for another procedure. It's been a few months, and his ear is doing well. My point in sharing the story is that plastic surgery can be addictive. It can be harmful and costly, but not everyone that gets plastic surgery done is an addict. We aren't perfect, and perhaps we'll never be perfect, but it's important to understand when we're satisfied with the way we look, we're happier, we have a better look on life, and we perform better. In the beginning of the podcast, we showed you a video of people responding to how they saw their body. We would like to ask you the same question. How do you feel about your body image, and what do you see when you look in the mirror?